Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud. We learn to lead. My name is Vikas. So friends, in this video we'll be discussing the most important current affairs of the February month related to topic national affairs. So the questions in this video are very important, so do watch the video till the end. Hit the like button, share the link of this video with your friends, and if you haven't say subscribe to our channel, do subscribe. So let's start with our video, but before that we have something important to tell you about. We have an app by the name Carriers Cloud which you can go and download through the Play Store. Once you have downloaded the app, you will open the app and you'll see this type of screen. In this, you can go and log in with your Google account, that is your Gmail ID. Then once you have logged in, then you will be moved to the this page where you can see a window. If you click on the current affairs section here, then you will be moved to this page. Now this is where magic happens. This is the course where there are two courses provided by us. First, you should know it is of 1 year and 2 years, so choose your course accordingly. What we are providing and what is the reason behind that you should purchase course of current affairs from us, and what are the important details about it. First thing, you should know that we provide you current affairs in both English and Hindi. Okay. Also, we provide you here current affairs daily. PDFs are provided daily. The important factor here to remember is we are providing PDF to you daily. Okay, that contains question answers of the daily current affairs. They are explained in a much easy way where you can grasp the knowledge and do your revision. Okay, apart from app, we provide you with question answers. Then on every day we provide you 20 question answers quiz, daily 20 questions quiz. So imagine how much it will benefit you in your preparation. Then we provide you same thing for weekly. In weekly we take a quiz of 50 questions. Then question answers of week, we provide you a book, a PDF is provided you weekly of the compiled questions of the whole week. Similarly for monthly also, ebook is given, your quizzes are taken, question answers PDF. Then apart from it, we also help you to prepare for banking papers. All the banking exams you can go refer to our videos and our courses here. You can see here the we provide you banking and economic quiz of 157 questions. Okay, then topic wise PDFs are covered. As you can see, we are making videos on indexes and reports, important days, the books and authors, all the events that are taking place in individual months. So these PDFs are provided to you and they will help you a lot in your preparation for journal awareness, your journal studies, as well as for current affairs. Then you can see we also provide you current affairs for state wise current affairs are provided to you. Apart from this, I have a gift for all of my friends here. If you use my code Vikas10, you will be getting a straight 10% discount on the purchase you make. So when you are about to check out and do the payment, just before the payment, you will be getting an option to use the promo code. There you can put the Vikas10, the code, and you will be getting an extra 10% discount on the total purchase you make there. So let's start with our video. So the first news that we'll be discussing is that India will be developing a hydroelectric power project in Nepal. I repeat, India's company SJVN, that is Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam, will be developing a hydroelectric project in Nepal. This will be developed on river Arun, and the total cost that will be spent on this will be $860 million. So the questions that can be framed from this particular news is: first, what is the name of the Indian company that backs the hydroelectric project in Nepal? The name of the company is SJVN. That stands for Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam. This is the name of the company that backs the hydroelectric project in Nepal. India will be building in Nepal, and the river on which this power project will be built is Arun. The name of the river is Arun. All right, and the total cost that will be spent on this project will be $860 million. So if we look at some of the related news of this is that during the 46th meeting of the Investment Board of Nepal IBN chaired by the Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli awarded the contract for the construction of 679 megawatt Lower Arun hydropower project to India Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam. Alright, as I said, the name of the company of India to which this project was given to was Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam under the public-private partnership. The project was awarded to SJVN under a successful international competitive bidding. Then, this project will be built on or constructed on river Arun that is situated in the eastern Nepal. It is being constructed under build, own, cooperate and transfer that is BOOT model and will cost around $860 million that is approximately to 100 billion Nepali rupees. Alright. So this will be generating around 3,561 million units of electricity per annum. So name of the company that was awarded this project was Indian company and the name of the Indian company is SJVN, that is your Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam. Another question that can be framed is like where India will be building this hydroelectric project. This will be India will be building in Nepal and on the river Arun. Then next news is that recently a report has been released. According to that report, India will be spending around 19.7 lakh crore rupees by 2030. Why? For transition towards electric vehicles. Alright, I repeat, a report was recently released. According to that report, India will be needing to spend around 19.7 lakh crore rupees by 2030 for transition toward electric vehicle. So the question will be framed here in such a manner that who released this report? First of all, this report was released by Niti Aayog and RMI. RMI is your Rocky Mountain Institute. Alright, Niti Aayog and RMI released a report that India will need to spend around 19.7 lakh crore rupees by 2030 for the transition of EV vehicles. Alright, then if we look at some of the data, according to the report, the name of the report is also important. The name of the report is Mobilizing Finance for EVs in India, a toolkit of solution to mitigate risk and address market barriers. Released by Niti Aayog and Rocky Mountain Institute. India's transition towards electric vehicle adoption between the year 2020-2030 will need a capital of INR that is 19.7 lakh crore rupees, or you can say $266 billion. They will be utilized for construction of vehicle charging stations and batteries and other infrastructures. Immediate steps needed to be taken for the India's EV transition are mobilization of capital and finance toward EV, that is your electric vehicle assets and infrastructure. Project size of the annual loan market for EVs will be around INR that is 3.7 lakh crore rupees in 2030. The main purpose of the report is to provide landscape assessment, barrier assessment and solution identification for increasing EV adoption in India. Alright, so India need to spend around how much amount? About 19.7 lakh crore rupees by 2030 for transition toward electric vehicles. And this report was released by Niti Aayog and RMI, that is your Rocky Mountain Institute. Moving on to next news. Next news is that India has emerged as the second most resilient economy after Germany. That means after the lockdown and this pandemic, as we see last year the lockdown took place and all the economies of all the countries were down. So the countries that bounce back, that means they are the most resilient country and they are growing at a good rate. So India in that terms has put at the second place. That means India has emerged as the second most resilient economy after Germany. In this particular news, you need to remember 2 points. First, who rank of first 3 rank holders in this particular field. First was Germany. That means Germany is the most resilient economy. Second was India. And your third was South Korea. Alright. In this, you need to remember the ranks of first three countries, and you need to remember the most important is the Indian rank, that it is the most resilient country after Germany. Then if we look at some of the details, according to the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, International Economic Resilience, India is set to emerge as the second most resilient economy in 2021 among top 10 leading economies, showcasing that strong recovery of Indian economy in the post-COVID-19 era. Germany took the top spot and South Korea took the third spot. What are the indicators based on which this report was released? It is based on 5 macroeconomic indicators such as real GDP growth rate, merchandise export growth rate, current account balance, general government lending and borrowing, and gross debt to GDP ratio. Alright, so remember, first Germany, second India, third South Korea in the most resilient economy around the world. Then moving on to next news. The next news we'll be discussing is about Asian India Hackathon 2021. Asian India Hackathon 2021 was organized by ASEAN, that is Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It was organized by ASEAN. Second thing, in this 10 Asian countries took part. And the third thing you need to remember about the two most important themes about this Asian Indian Hackathon, that were first was blue economy and second was education. Alright, basically in this hackathon there will be discussion on how we can increase or how we can make our education system better. In this particular hackathon there were discussion that about 100 or 1000 PhDs will be provided to different students or different people all around the world from only these 10 Asian nations. Alright, so if we look at the questions that can be framed, is first of all you need to know the Asian full form. What is Association of Southeast Asian Nation? This is the full form of nation. This is organized by Asian India Hackathon 2021. Then there were 10 nations in this who took part. These are the 10 Asian nations. Then if we look at the two themes were first were blue economy and second was your education. How can we make Indian education better was also a part of this hackathon. So if we look at the data, Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank addressed the inaugural session of the 2021's Asian India Hackathon. This Asia India Hackathon was launched by the Association of Southeast Asian Nation in partnership with Ministry of Education. Participating countries, as I said, there were 10 Asian countries. They were Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Brunei, Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Vietnam, along with India. The two themes were blue economy and education. Then the government of India had launched 1000 Asian PhD fellowship exclusive for Asian citizens. For just Asian citizens, 1000 Asian PhD fellowships will be provided. Then, according to the National Education Policy 2020 of India, India will open opportunities for the whole world. The hackathon will be enactment of 6 fundamental virtues of our civilization: respect, dialogue, cooperation, peace, and prosperity and innovation. Main thing to remember is the theme, two themes, and 10 nations took part in this, and this was organized by whom? It was organized by ASEAN, and our Minister of Education, that is Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, also addressed this inaugural session of Asian India Hackathon. Next news. Next we'll be discussing the government has approved 945 crore rupees Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. Alright, first of all you need to know SISFS. This is Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. This was first you should know that approved by the government of India. Good. But what are the organizations that approved this Startup India Seed Fund Scheme? They were DPIIT. DPIIT is your Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, along with Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Alright, so DPIIT and Ministry of Commerce and Industry approved this Startup India Seed Fund scheme. Okay, this is the question most important that can be asked from this news. DPIIT and your Ministry of Commerce and Industry has given the approval for setting up of Startup India Seed Fund scheme with a corpus of 945 crore rupees for a period of 2021 to 2025. The scheme will come into force from April 1, 2020 and DPIIT will be the implementing agency of the scheme. Important question. What will be the implementing agency of the Startup India Seed Fund scheme? It will be DPIIT, that is your Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Alright, important, so do remember this. These are the questions from this news that can be framed. Next we'll be talking about, and this is important, Adi Mahotsav. Adi Mahotsav is a tribal festival that was recently celebrated at Delhi Haat, New Delhi. This Adi Mahotsav was first time celebrated in 2017. This was inaugurated by our Vice President Shri Venkaiah Naidu ji, and this is an initiative of TriFed. So these are the questions of Adi Mahotsav. It is a tribal festival. It was celebrated at Delhi Haat in New Delhi. It was first time celebrated in 2017, and from that every year we celebrate this Adi Mahotsav. It was an initiative of TriFed. Alright, and what is TriFed? TriFed stands for Tribal Affairs and Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Fund of Federation of India. Alright, so if we look at some of the data, Vice President of India inaugurated the National Tribal Festival Adi Mahotsav at Delhi Haat, New Delhi. The festival will be held from 1 to 15 February and will showcase tribal art, craft, medicine, cuisine, folk performance and tribal artists and chefs from more than 20 states of the country. The festival is a joint initiative of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs and Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, that is TriFed. Adi Mahotsav has been organized annually since 2017. The main objective behind the festival is to familiarize people with the rich and diverse craft culture and tribal communities. The theme of the festival is also important, so do remember the theme is a celebration of the spirit of tribal crafts, culture and commerce. The 2020 edition of the festival was cancelled due to pandemic. Alright, so this is everything related to your Adi Mahotsav. Moving on to next news. Next we'll be discussing that 8th India International Silk Fair. I repeat, 8th India International Silk Fair was inaugurated virtually by Smriti Irani ji. Then India is this fair, that is International Silk Fair of India, the 8th International Silk Fair of India is the India's biggest silk fair. And if we talk about in the production of silk, that which country is the largest producer of silk? It is China. Another question, which country is the largest exporter of silk? It is China. In what position India ranks as the exporter or the producer of silk? India stands at 2nd position. Alright, so if we look at it, 8th India International Silk Festival. Alright, this was inaugurated by first question. It was inaugurated by Smriti Irani ji. Then it is India's biggest silk festival. Then if we see in the terms of producer, first position is with China, and if we terms in exporter, then first position is with China. Alright, and India stands at 2nd position. Alright, so if we look at some of the key details, our Union Minister for Women and Child Development and Textiles, Smriti Irani ji, virtually addressed the inaugural session of the India's biggest silk fair, the 8th India International Silk Fair. This was a 5-day long event. Alright, and remember the virtual platform on which this was inaugurated is this virtual India Silk Fair.in. If we look at something about the silk in India, India is the only country in the world to produce all the four varieties of silk. And the four varieties are Mulberry, Eri, Tisar and Muga. Then if we talk about India, we just saw India stands at second place only behind China in the silk production. India has around 11 geographical indicators in silk such as Muga silk, Salem, Arane silk and Champa silk. Then notice that in China is the largest producer and exporter of silk. We just saw that. So this is everything related to your 8th India International Silk Fair that can be asked in your exam. Next we'll be talking about the second CCTNS hackathon. National Crime Records Bureau inaugurated second CCTNS hackathon and cyber challenge. CCTNS stands for Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and System. All right. So if we look at it, second CCTNS is your Crime and Criminal Tracking Networking and System. This was a second edition of this hackathon that was launched or inaugurated by NCRB. All right, National Crime Records Bureau, and this was inaugurated at New Delhi. All right, then the second crime that is the second Crime and Criminal Tracking Networks and Systems CCTNS Hackathon and Cyber Challenge 2021 of the National Crime Records Bureau was inaugurated in New Delhi. The inauguration ceremony was presided over by the Union Home Secretary Arun Kumar Ji. The second CCTNS Hackathon and Cyber Challenge is the continuation of the Hackathon and Cyber Challenge which was concluded in 2020. So the first edition was in March 2020 and now on February we are seeing the second edition of this CCTNS Hackathon. Then during this inauguration of the hackathon, Locate Near Police Station mobile application was also launched. This is one of the most important questions that can be asked. Like, Locate Near Police Station was launched during which hackathon? It was launched during second CCTNS hackathon. All right, and this will be improve the accessibility of the police to the citizens. That means this will help in providing better services of the police to the citizens. Then moving on to the next news. Next we'll be seeing that MCA 21, the version 3.0 has been launched. MCA 21 version 3.0 has been launched. This is a portal and this is the first mission mode e-governance project. I repeat, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs is set to launch the portal MCA 21 version 3.0 during the fiscal year this. The portal will be the first mission mode e-governance project of the Government of India. MCA 21 portal is used by the companies for submitting various documents as a part of compliance requirements under the company law. Alright, and this will include technologies such as data analytics, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Then the objective will be to strengthen enforcement and transfer corporate regulatory environment in India, to promote ease of doing business, to enhance user experience and to facilitate seamless integration and data exchange among regulators. Moving on to next news. Next we'll be looking at the first e-cabinet that has been inaugurated in India is at which state? It is in Himachal Pradesh. All right. So the question can be framed in such a way that which state became in India, which is the first state to inaugurate or to implement the e-cabinet system. It is Himachal Pradesh. All right. First state with e-cabinet, that is Himachal Pradesh. All right, and this was inaugurated at Shimla. All right, so e-cabinet inaugurated at Shimla and Himachal Pradesh became the first state in India with e-cabinet system. Jairam Thakur, who is the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, inaugurated the first e-cabinet system at Shimla. The state became the first to implement e-cabinet and make the end-to-end processing of cabinet paperless. The e-cabinet application for the e-cabinet was developed by the Department of Information Technology of Himachal Pradesh. This is the first of its kind electronic platform in India. Then around 32 cabinet memos were discussed and processed through this application. The entire process of cabinet, that is from initiation of the cabinet memo, approval of the memo through the concerned secretary, chief secretary, minister and chief minister in place, were made through online procedure only through this e-cabinet application. All right. So Himachal Pradesh became the first state to have this e-cabinet system. Moving on to next news. Next news is that our country got its first Thunderbird research test bed. Which is the location or which is the state that got the country's first thunderstorm research test bed? This will be doing research on various thunderstorms and collecting data for the future climate issues. All right, and these has been established by IMD, that is your India's meteorological department. So where these thunderstorm test bed has been implemented, they have been put in Odisha. All right, so if we look at the data, IMD, that is your India's meteorological department, is set to establish India's first thunderstorm research test bed at Balasore in Odisha. The test bed will be established in collaboration between the Ministry of Earth Sciences, IMD, Defense and Research Development Organization, that is your DRDO, and your ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization. That means ISRO, DRDO, IMD, that is your India Meteorological Department, along with Ministry of Earth Science, will be setting up this India's first thunderstorm research test bed, where in Odisha. All right, the advanced observation system will be installed in North Odisha, West Bengal and Jharkhand. All right, important cheese. Do remember this. This can be asked in your exam because this is related to climate. All the climate related news and questions are very important. Next is that India's first geothermal field development project will be set up in Leh. According to a report in 2018, Puga village has showed high potential for thermal energy. All right, for geothermal energy, I correct myself. Puga village has showed high potential in thermal energy, and India is about to set up its first geothermal field development project in Leh. And the implementing agency, the question can also be asked, what is the implementing agency of the India's first geothermal field development project that will be in Leh? Is ONGC. ONGC is your Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. So India's first geothermal energy project will be in Leh, and in that too Puga village. All right, then implementing agency is ONGC. All right, so if we look at the data, Union Territory Administration of Ladakh, Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council and Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Energy Center have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish India's first ever geothermal field development project in Puga village of Leh Ladakh. ONGC Energy Center will be the implementing agency of the project. Then, according to the analysis by a team of researchers in 2018, Puga village showed high potential for geothermal energy. This Puga village shows geothermal activity in the form of hot springs, mud pools, sulfur and borax deposits. The project will help Ladakh for sustainable development and to attain the goal of carbon neutral Ladakh. Alright, the energy from the project will be used for giving round the clock power supplies to neighboring villages. Alright, so this is your first geothermal field development project in Leh. And if the name of the district or village is asked, it is Puga village. And if it is asked the implementing organization, it is ONGC, that is your Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. Then moving on to next news. Next news is that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has unveiled postage stamp on the Diamond Jubilee of Gujarat High Court. I repeat, Narendra Modi ji has unveiled postage stamps on the Diamond Jubilee of Gujarat High Court. Alright, so on 6th February, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji virtually inaugurated the event organized to mark Diamond Jubilee of the Gujarat High Court and unveiled the commemorative postage stamps to mark the completion of 60 years of the establishment of High Court of Gujarat. So for 60 years, that is your Diamond Jubilee, Narendra Modi ji has virtually inaugurated the event and has launched commemorative postage stamps to mark the completion of 60 years of the High Court of Gujarat. Alright. Vikram Nath is the current Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court, and this event was scheduled to take place in 2020 but was postponed due to COVID-19 pandemic. Alright, so postage stamp on the Diamond Jubilee of Gujarat High Court was released by PM Narendra Modi ji. Next, there is a company by the name Aviatech Enterprises Private Limited. It is a Crown Group company. It made an agreement with Russian Aircraft Corporation, that is RAC MIG. MIG are the aircrafts. So they made an agreement to provide post-warranty product support to the fighter jets, and these are the fighter jets of by the name MIG. Alright, so remember the name, the few names: Aviatech Enterprises Private Limited. It is a Crown Group company. Crown Group company. This made an agreement with whom? With RAC MIG. MIG is the name of the aircraft and RAC is your Russian Aircraft Corporation. Alright. For what reason? To provide post-warranty product support to these fighter jets. Aviatech Enterprises Private Limited, it is a Crown Group company, entered into a framework agreement with Russian Aircraft Corporation, where AEPL will be in-country authorized partner for RAG MIG to provide post-warranty product support to the MIG 29K and MIG 29KUB. This MIG 29K, it is single seat, and MIG 29KUB is your double seat aircraft. Next news is that Triton and Bharat Electronics Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding for the development of electric vehicles and energy storage systems. I repeat, for EV, that is electric vehicles, and for ESS, that is energy storage systems, they have signed a memorandum of understanding. Which two organizations? Triton and Bharat Electronics Limited, that is BEL, along with Triton, that is Bharat Electronics Limited, and Triton has signed a memorandum of understanding for development of electric vehicles and energy storage systems. Triton Electric Vehicle has signed a memorandum of understanding with Bharat Electronics Limited to develop electric vehicles and energy storage system. Through this partnership, both parties aim to create innovative product that will transfer the Indian EV and ESS segment. The purpose is to manufacture subsystems and battery assemblies for ESS and EVs so as to cater the needs of customers in USA, India and other countries. Alright, so Triton and BEL, that is Bharat Electronics Limited, has signed an MOU. Next news is that the Tamil Nadu state has got its 5th tiger reserve, and the name of the tiger reserve is Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve, and with this is the India's 51st tiger reserve. Alright, the other four tiger reserves of Tamil Nadu are Madhumalai, Kalakand, Annamalai, Satyanangamalam and Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve. This Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve is the largest tiger reserve of Tamil Nadu state, and this is the 51st tiger reserve of India. Alright, 51st tiger reserve of India, 5th tiger reserve of Tamil Nadu, largest tiger reserve of Tamil Nadu. Alright, which is it? It is Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve. Alright, so if we look at the key details, the government of India has approved Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu. It will be Tamil Nadu's 5th tiger reserve. It is the largest ever tiger reserve in the state, and it is India's 5th tiger reserve. Alright, it is spread over an area of 1 lakh hectares. The approval for setting up the SMTR was given by National Tiger Conservation Authority under the section 38V1. Alright, so this is the important one, and you need to know the data related to it, that is, it is India's 51st tiger reserve of India, it is 5th tiger reserve of Tamil Nadu, and it is the largest tiger reserve of Tamil Nadu also, that is Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve. And other 4 tiger reserves are Madhumulai Tiger Reserve, Kalakand Tiger Reserve, Annamalai Tiger Reserve, and Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve, and the 5th one is Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve. Alright, then moving on to next news. Next news is that Ministry of Defence has signed a contract with Bharat Electronics Limited for the procurement of software defined radio for worth of rupees 1000 crore. I repeat, Ministry of Defence has signed a contract with Bharat Electronics Limited for the procurement of software defined radio worth rupees 1000 crore. As you can see in the picture, they are software defined radio. They will be delivered to the Ministry of Defence by in coming 3 years by BEL, that is Bharat Electronics Limited. The Ministry of Defence and the Defence Public Sector Undertaking Bharat Electronics Limited have signed a contract for the procurement of the software defined radio tactical worth rupees 1000 crore in New Delhi. The delivery will take within 3 years, and BEL is already supplying SDR Naval Combat and SDR Air is under evaluation. Alright, so main thing to remember here is the two organizations that signed this contract are Ministry of Defence and Bharat Electronics Limited for the procurement of software defined radio. Do remember these 3 names: Ministry of Defence, Bharat Electronics Limited, and software defined radio. Next we'll be talking about Yudh Abhyas 20. Yudh Abhyas is a military or a joint military exercise between India and USA. The location, if location is asked, it was held in Rajasthan, and if a precise location is asked, then it was Maharaja Field Firing Range. Alright, Yudh Abhyas 20. This is conducted between India and USA. Location is asked, then it was in Rajasthan. If precise location is asked, it is Maharaja Field Firing Range. Alright. Then the 16th edition of the annual joint military exercise between India and the United States, Yudh Abhyas 20, was initiated as a part of defense cooperation at the Maharaja Field Firing Range near India-Pakistan border in Rajasthan. This was a 12-day long exercise, and from Indian side in this 11th Battalion of Jammu and Kashmir Rifles took part, and from US side 2nd Battalion 3rd Infantry Regiment of 1-2 Striker Brigade Combat Team took part in this joint military exercise. Alright, then the US contingent was welcomed by the Brigadier Mukesh Bhanwalaji. He is the commander of the 170 Infantry Brigade of Indian Army. Alright, so this is your Yudh Abhyas. Main question that will be framed from this news is Yudh Abhyas is conducted between which two countries? It is between India and USA. Location can also be asked. Where was Yudh Abhyas 20 conducted? It was conducted in Rajasthan. Then moving on to next news is about Aero India 2021. It is the Asia's largest aerospace and defense exhibition that was held in Bangalore. Alright, that was held in Bangalore. This is important. Alright, this was held in Bangalore. Important 3rd edition of the Aero India exhibition. It is Asia's largest aerospace and defense exhibition. So do remember this and do take a note. We have discussed this news a lot many times. Next, the next news we'll be discussing is World Sustainable Development Summit 2021. This World Sustainable Development Summit 2021 was inaugurated by Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji, and the theme you should know, and you should also know that this was a flagship event of which organization. These are the 2-3 questions. First, World Sustainable Development Summit 2021 was inaugurated by PM Narendra Modi ji. Alright, first question. Second question, you should know the theme of this summit. The theme was redefining our common future, safe and secure environment for all. this was your theme for World Sustainable Development Summit 2021. Then if we are asked about the flagship, this was a flagship event of which organization? It was a flagship event of TERI. TERI. TERI stands for the Energy Resource Institute of India. All right. So this is your TERI. It was a flagship event of TERI. Theme was redefining our common future, safe and securing event for all. And this summit was inaugurated by Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji. The 20th World Sustainable Development Summit was held on the theme Redefining Our Common Future, Safe and Secure Environment for All. This 3-day long event was virtually inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The event was also attended by Union Minister Subramanyam Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs. It should be noted that this World Sustainable Development Summit is an annual flagship event of the TERI, that is the Energy Resource Institute of India. All right, important thing we have discussed here. These do remember, do take off the notes that I write. All right, because these are the questions that will be framed from the particular topic and they are very important. All right, then moving on to next news. Next is also an important news, so do take a note of this. Map My India. Map My India has tie up. This is an organization, Map My India. This organization has tie up with ISRO to build an alternative to Google Maps. I repeat, Map My India has tied up with ISRO to build an alternative to Google Maps. Alright, so Map My India has tied up with which organization? This will be the question. For tied up with ISRO, and for what reason? To develop an alternative for Google Maps. Alright, so these are the questions that will be framed from this news. Department of Space and Map My India have entered into a memorandum of understanding. According to this agreement, ISRO and Map My India will partner to build an indigenously mapping portal and geospatial services which could become an alternative to Google Map and Google Earth services. Alright, then this Map My India digital maps and ISRO's catalog of satellite imagery and Earth observation data will be utilized to build the indigenous portal. The collaboration will provide a detailed, comprehensive, privacy-centric, hyper-local, indigenously mapping solution to the Indians. It will also show the user map-based analytics and insights on weather, pollution, agriculture output, land use changes, and flood and landslide disasters. Alright, so which company will be developing an alternative to Google Maps services? They are Map My India along with ISRO. Next news we'll be discussing is very important and it can be asked like, which is the expressway that has the first highway with wildlife protection corridor? Or it can be asked like, at which location the India's first wildlife protection corridor will be built? It will be built on Delhi Dehradun Express Highway. What are wildlife protection corridors? As you can see, these are the highways. So animals cannot cross between the roads, and it can be very risky for both animals as well as for the people driving on the road. So this type of structure will be built on the highways so that here on both the side of the road there are the forest. So that means animals can come from this portion and can cross easily the roads or the expressways without getting hurt or without getting into accidents. As this is a very good initiative, so it has a high chance of being asked like, on which expressway the first highway with the wildlife protection corridor will be built? It is Delhi Dehradun Express Highway. Next we'll be discussing Vigyan Jyoti program. Vigyan Jyoti program is a program that has spread to around 100 districts in its second edition of the Vigyan Jyoti program. In first edition there were around 50 districts, and in the second edition they have covered around 100 districts in total. Alright, and in this Vigyan Jyoti program, this encourages girls to nurture their interest in science and to build a career in science and engineering related fields. Alright, I repeat, in this Vigyan Jyoti program, this has spread to around 100 districts in the second edition, and this encourages girls to nurture their interest in science and build a career in science and engineering related fields. Alright. So friends, this was our video. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you liked our video, do hit the like button, share the link with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel or if you are new to our channel, then do subscribe because it motivates us to bring a better content for you guys. Also, if you have any trouble regarding login or payment or any other issues, then you can reach to us on our mail, that is support@affairscloud.com, or you can call us on the number 9677333862, and we'll resolve your issue as soon as possible. Also, you should go and check our courses that are available at a very reasonable price, and that will help you to boost your preparations for upcoming government exams. You can use the code Vikas10 to get a straight 10% discount on any purchase you make. All right, so that's all for the day. Take care.